Today's song comes from a film in the 1970s described as magical, ethereal, and the film itself in the 70s was described as one of the best films ever to depict teenage struggles. Who directed it, what the song is, will be talked about in a minute. But the group itself is the background information I'm going to give you. It's from a French band called Air, a music duo from Versailles consisting of Nicolas Godin and Jean Benoit Dunkel. Their critically acclaimed debut album, Moon Safari, including the track Sexy Boy, was an international success in 1998. It followed up the Virgin Suicides, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and it was the score to Sofia Coppola's first film, The Virgin Suicides. So there it is out of the bag, the answer to the initial part of this video. The band has since released the albums 10,000 HZ Legend, Talkie Walkie, Pocket Symphony, Love 2, amongst others. And the band is influenced by a wide variety of musical styles and artists. But the great thing about the duo is they wrote the song Playground Love, which you're about to hear, with a person who's married in to the family of the Coppola family. And the Coppola family, if you trace it back, come from the legendary Francis Ford Coppola. So there you have all the connections, all the music connected to the film, where it comes from. The reason I'm playing this is we need more of what this has to offer. We need to go back on Netflix, or we need to go back on wherever you get your film sources from and find this 1970s film. And remember that Sofia Coppola's film, The Virgin Suicides, is something that would inspire you even now, regardless of age. It might have been about a teenage subject matter, but it spiraled some of the best trilogy of songs that I've heard in many, many years. And Air was the band that I've just mentioned, was the people who wrote the songs. Except for this one, they added somebody else in. But Playground Love is a song that I hope you sit back, enjoy. It's not a case of I'm going to break down the lyrics to this. I think they're very self-explanatory. And when it's like that, I like to just give you a bit about the film and the background to the song. So here's the background. And it comes from, and I want to give a shout out to George Paladev, who writes for Medium. It's an online media social platform that deals with doing interviews with different bands. So he continues, like many contemporary directors who started with music videos and then moved to full-length films. Sofia Coppola, the daughter of the great Francis Ford Coppola, also began her career with bands. In 1995, a friend and a member of the Sonic Youth, Thurston Moore, gave her a book about 5 sisters living in Detroit's suburbs under the severe control of Puritan parents. The novel inspired a 24-year-old Sophia at the time to make her first film. When the author's permission was received, she approached Brian Ritzel, the co-author of Sophia's first short picture. Now, Brian was 6 years older than the director herself, and in theory, he could help her with the soundtrack selection, as well as with an understanding of what burned young hearts in the 70s. Ritzel was a guest drummer in Air, and he drummed for them during their tour to support the new album Moon Safari at the time, and that was released way back in 1998. Sophia was listening to Air whilst working on the film's scenario, so the decision to invite the French duo to create the soundtrack for the future film made sense. And besides, as the reviewers notice, Air's dreamy music, which you're about to savour, wrapped up in vivid, dilute colours of old photographs, and there's a very old worldly charm to this video. It's very soothing as well. Not only perfectly fitted the scrupulously recreated visuals, but also created the impression of a forgotten album, recorded in the 70s that had just been rediscovered. And you get that feeling when you watch the video. I've just discovered my youth, or oh, I know what my parents are talking about, oh, my grandparents talked about this era. It gives you that nostalgic feeling. Now, we'll go on to the Virgin Suicides, of where the music had come from. The Virgin Suicide paid off. They invested $6 million and earned almost $11 million. At the same time, a promo video for the band was made. It to intersect with the film beautifully and compressed into 3 minutes. Maybe not. Vocals and sax, and the sax is what you need to listen to, everybody. The sax in this, the saxophone, for those who need elongated. It's just something to behold. It's beautiful. It really carries you through the whole of the song. And by the way, Sophia also appeared in the video. She's the woman they bring the drafts of the sleeve for the soundtrack to approve. So a bit of biographical within the film. I'm looking forward to rewatching it, I really am. But I thought about it the other day and I thought, that's some beautiful music in it. And this is what I came up with. And instead of breaking down the lyrics, what we'll do is we'll give you a bit of information of where this music comes from, and hopefully that will entice you to watch the actual series itself, or sorry, the film itself. Not there's a series of songs, but the film itself. Sit back, listen, enjoy, and I'll give you more information as soon as it's finished.
No matter, I'm on fire on the playground flushes all my soul. Extra time on the ground. You're my playground love.
Now, if anybody told me I'd be introducing a piece of gum, and I have to stop it there because it's all live, a piece of gum as a star of a video, I think he would have said, I don't know what he's taking, but he needs to stop taking it. But there you go. We followed the gum story, the chewing gum. But it's just inspirational, isn't it? Because it's so 70s, it's so ethereal, it's so inspiring in the sense that you know a Coppola is involved with the direction of the film when a piece of gum in the musical video can be the star to set the path for what's ahead. And it intrigues you to want to go and look at the Virgin Suicides again, and I intend to do that. But until then, I'll give you just a little bit of background about the Virgin Suicides. The Virgin Suicides was composed by whom you've just heard, Air, the electronic music duo, for that 1990 film, that's the reference, by Sophia, released in 2000 by Virgin Records. Now, the album was nominated for Best Soundtrack, I'm sure you know why by listening, in 2001 and Brit Awards. And the French edition of Rolling Stone magazine placed the Virgin Suicides, and this is the music, at number 49 on their particular list of the top 100 for the essential French rock albums of the time. Following through in 2014, NME. Now, NME were a huge concern, as regards interviews with bands, and they were called New Musical Express, and it's a British music, film, gaming and cultural website. They also jumped on board and placed the album at number 11 on their 61 of the greatest film soundtracks ever. And in 2009, Pitchfork placed the album at number 4 on their top 50 music scores of all time list. And this is what I would say about today's music. Let's not forget the eras we've lived. I've lived through the 70s, I've lived through the 80s and the 90s, 2000, up to now, 2025. And I'm always pulled back to different eras of music. And I feel so grateful that I experienced the Virgin Suicides when they came out. I didn't appreciate it musically, but now I do. And when I reflect and I go back and I listen to it again, I'm in awe. They're masterpieces that are timeless. But then when you are the daughter of one of the greatest legendary award-winning film directors who has put her foot forward, God Air, was inspired by their music, brought them into her film, and that is just a video of the inspiration surrounding this woman, you can only imagine what the Virgin Suicides was like. Check it out. So I hope I've done enough plugging for it. Way back then, to celebrate the anniversary of the Suicides, a deluxe edition came out, everybody, of the album, and that was released in 2015. It was a 2-disc. I know, says you, what is a disc? Go and ask your grandparents at this stage, I think. And a super deluxe box set. The former contains, and they're coming back in vogue. I have an album by Two Tribes that I've just featured on my channel again, and apparently all the vinyl albums they're doing are being snapped up. So there is a resurgence of the old record player vinyl albums coming back. It's nice to see. It's nice to see. So anyway, there you go with the vinyl, and live recordings on it as well of the Playground Love that you just heard, and then the 16-page booklet featuring an unpublished Air interview, a film poster, that kind of thing. They used to stick in a poster and like merchandise along with that. I don't think they do that today for anything really. I think you have to win a competition. But there it was given to all their fans in the boxes, so check that out. And if you do have an original copy, by the way, I even researched on eBay, worth a lot of money. People are grabbing it because the resurgence in the 70s kind of music and this kind of era has come back on YouTube in a big way. And a lot of the what they call Generation Z today, and young people are wearing vintage clothes, and they love the 70s particularly more than the 80s. It's too poppy for them. 70s more chilled out, and I agree with that. And the flares and the big shirts, I still remember them well. And I just asked my mother to cut the shirts and make them into granddad collars for me because they were out here. So it just goes to prove that the past can become the present, and it just takes a matter of time, and we're on that cycle at the moment. And that's why I've introduced you again to the French duo Air and their music and the film. I hope you've enjoyed my mini biography of enticing you to watch what your parents, and in some cases grandparents, would say were the best times of their lives. And I'm sure after that video you'd agree. If not, you need to get out and get more air. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.